Coming up in NBN News, beekeepers double down on biosecurity in Newcastle, plus a shooting which is known as the second in 5 days on the Central Coast, plus pilot training returns to Tamworth in the New England Northwest. That's coming up next on NBN News. Good evening, my name's Glenn McLeod of NBN's Sunday Night News. Tonight, beekeepers double down on biosecurity in Newcastle. A second shooting occurs in 5 days on the Central Coast, and pilot training returns in the New England Northwest town of Tamworth. But first, tonight, $70 million a year. That's how much damage a small varroa mite could wreak on our honey industry. The pests have been detected in surveillance hives at the port of Newcastle, leaving others within a 50-kilometre radius in somewhat of a lockdown.
It's a word on beekeepers' minds and lips.
Varroa mite, the threat that's always here. They are a destroyer.
For the first time ever, the varroa mite, also known as varroa destructor, has hit Australia's honey industry, raising concerns for Newcastle producer Neil Livingston.
I can't touch them, I can't get into them, I can't do anything. And I know that there's an average of 20 kilos of honey in each of those hives. It has to be destroyed.
The mite was detected in biosecurity surveillance hives at the port of Newcastle yesterday. In response, the DPI will get rid of all hives within a 6-kilometre radius of the port, including 15 of Neil's.
They'll destroy every bee in that area and hope and pray that that is it. If not, then they'll extend it to 10 k's, and if they do that, they'll eat up all of my 30-odd hives.
Edina Todd owns a honey farm on Mount Vincent in the Hunter Valley. While her property is 50 minutes from the port, she says it only takes one bee to spread varroa between colonies.
As it's quite new to Australia, we're not saying that we are not equipped, but it is a lot of effort.
A varroa mite reproduces around 3 times quicker than a bee, which means if one of these hives becomes infected, it will soon wipe out an entire colony. As for what's happening on the port's end,
we do have an emergency zone that has been declared, which is a 50k radius around Newcastle itself and the port of Newcastle, which prohibits beekeepers, apiarists from moving hives.
Beekeepers as far north as Tamworth already aware of the infestation.
The worst thing that can happen is we get varroa mite. It kills every hive.
The outbreak could cost the industry $70 million a year in losses, with most Australian crops dependent on bee pollination.
They tell me everything's in place to fix all these incursions we've got, so I really hope it happens quick. We've got the almond pollination is about to happen in about a month.
Isabella Evans, NBN News.
It helped thousands of Australians through the pandemic, but now telehealth is about to be scaled back. From Friday, GPs will be restricted in how many calls they'll take, leaving many vulnerable patients concerned.
Esther lives 3 suburbs away from her GP. Unable to drive, she's been relying on telehealth services for all her medical needs.
It's been life-changing to have it.
Up until now, telehealth has been accessible to any patient in any area at any time. But come July 1, that's set to change, with the federal government to scale back on the service's availability, restricting GPs to no more than 30 calls in a 20-day period.
We mustn't make radical fast changes because we risk a lot of damage to a lot of people.
For patients like Wendy, who use telehealth to speak with various specialists, it's concerning.
It's hard to get out. There's lots of reasons why it's going to be really, really hard to not have that service available.
Some doctors say a reduction in telehealth consultations will have a flow-on effect, with hospitals likely to pick up the extra workload. They say telehealth allows people to get medical advice earlier before their conditions deteriorate.
If you tie GPs' arms behind their back and ask them to function with very limited telehealth services, the risk is that people then end up presenting to the wrong place for the wrong kind of care.
From July 1, a handful of Medicare rebates will also be revoked, including for phone consultations over 20 minutes long.
Living on disability payments, you can't just afford to get on, and go and pay for services.
Isabella Evans, NBN News.
A Central Coast suburb has woken to the sounds of gunfire, with police now investigating an altercation between two groups of people. It's the second shooting in the region within 5 days. Thankfully, no one was injured in either situation. And a warning, the story is distressing.
Willisey Crescent in Kincumber was quiet and calm today, but this morning it was the scene of a gunfight. Police say up to 3 rounds were fired between two groups known to each other.
Inquiries suggest there'd been a dispute between two parties before shots had been fired and the vehicles involved fled.
Detectives were canvassing the street hours later. The McDonald's car park was barricaded off until just after 9, while evidence was collected. Police are calling on witnesses and those at home on Avoca Drive at the time to come forward.
We have 3 vehicles, one being a small blue sedan, another being a purple utility, and the other being a blue utility.
Anna Nichols has worked at Kincumber Hotel on Willisey Crescent for 4 years and says this morning's gunfight is out of the ordinary.
We have the best people come in here. They're always so nice and friendly, so it's very unexpected.
Police are also investigating a shooting last week, but say they don't believe the incidents are linked.
Investigators are still in the process of collecting information. We don't have a great deal at this point of time, but we're still working through those lines of inquiry.
Will DeFulvio, NBN News.
Tamworth Regional Council is busy working behind the scenes to revive its pilot training school. Having sit vacant since 2020, Council believes its airport could be back training pilots again by the end of the year.
With planes taking to the skies once more, negotiations are now taking place for a pilot training school to return to the northwest.
If you go to the airport now, you'll see the numbers have increased dramatically, both here in Tamworth and in Sydney.
Tamworth Council says it's speaking with a number of interested parties.
We'd love to see an organisation like the Sydney Flight Training School make their home in Tamworth.
The local pilot training campus has been left empty since the deal with Virgin fell through in 2020. Council says the region's weather conditions are ideal for flying, and an abundance of sunshine seen year-round makes Tamworth a perfect destination.
Their flying days are a lot less than ours. In fact, most of them are about half as good as ours.
With hundreds of students studying in town, Council says millions of dollars would be injected into the local economy and hopes the campus will be back up and running by the end of the year.
If we can get this airport activity happening, if we can get the aviation industry secured back here in Tamworth, Tamworth will boom again.
And from tomorrow, Tamworth will also have more flights to and from Sydney. Grace Nicholson, NBN News.
Hundreds gathered at Coffs Harbour's harbourside markets today for Jetty loving. The event was organised to display the community's love for the jetty parklands on the mid-north coast and protest against proposed rise developments in the area.
A giant human love heart on Coffs Harbour's Jetty Beach. The community gathered to show their love for the jetty parklands and their dissatisfaction for the state government's proposed changes for the space.
Today's about protecting the jetty foreshores. There's a proposal on the table to build 6-storey blocks of units behind here, and people are here because they love the jetty.
The speakers included Deputy Mayor Sally Townley.
The plan is a long way from good enough, and if we do want to see some sort of upgrading and development and change in this area, then it should primarily be based around this.
I can't think of anywhere else that everyone feels like they belong. Everyone can come down here and feels like we all own it together. We all belong to it.
The area having significant cultural and spiritual meaning.
Particularly to the Gambanga Nation, not just the local Aboriginal people that call this place home at Garlamburla. It's a very special and important place to the entire nation for healing and ceremonial purposes.
Those gathered wanting to see the jetty foreshores kept as an open recreational space.
It's just so important that we keep this sort of open public land as the city expands as a bit of breathing space, as somewhere people can come and enjoy their downtime. In the words of a great fictional Australian, tell them they're dreaming.
Alison Paul, NBN News.
Absolutely, it's more like the quote "Tell me it's dreaming" from the movie The Castle, of course. Now, Lismore's iconic Lantern Parade returned to the CBD with a bang last night for the first time in 2 years. 10,000 locals braved the cold to watch the annual procession and thank the local heroes who stepped up during the floods.
A tinny army followed by a procession of lanterns, lighting the night and paying homage to Lismore's heroes in the recent floods. It's been 2 long years since the parade was held in the city's CBD, and it was clear 2022 took on a whole new meaning of bringing people together, with more than 10,000 braving the cold.
Wow, we did not expect to see so many people out on such a cold night.
Starting at the town library on Magellan Street, this year's route was slightly different, but there was still plenty of colour, light and love adorning the streets, which just 4 months ago were inundated with floodwater. Over 400 school children showed off their creations, and streams of orange lined Molesworth Street.
But it's a time after we've been suffering. It's a time when people have had the most terrible catastrophes. And it's a time when we need to start healing and coming together.
The finale was on the town's levee bank, which organisers say was a chance to start making peace with the river. SES volunteers and community members were also thanked after risking their lives during the floods. Josephine Shannon, NBN News.
Yeah, those fireworks are really scary. Yeah. A fisherman has fallen 15 metres from a cliff at Razorback Lookout at Evans Head in the Northern Rivers. Just after 5:30 yesterday afternoon, the rescue helicopter responded, winching him to safety with suspected spinal injuries. He was flown to a Brisbane hospital where he remains in a serious but stable condition. Up next, your local sport.
Where can I go for great prices and quality bathroom items with names I know and trust?
This Thursday till Sunday, it's RDT's Vanity Sale. New arrivals, overstocks, deleted lines, everything in the store is reduced. All vanities heavily discounted. Elegant stone top, wall hung, coloured and ceramic top vanities. Budget buster vanities from $199. Plus over 30 new products on display. See the savings on rdt.net.au. Get the quality, the look, the store-wide savings. Renovators Discount Depot, 147 Newcastle Road, Walls End. Store quality, depot prices.
Check out these galvanised RHS specials at Coffs Metal Market, 6 Cook Drive. Just look at those prices for this first-rate Australian-made product. Ask about the other sizes and prices while current stocks last.
Coffs Metal Market.
Go Harvey Norman for great deals during our half-yearly clearance. Hurry in for the Avita coffee and 2 lamp tables for $199. And the Swiss 3-seater and 2 recliners for $15.99. Half-yearly clearance on now.
When it comes to rural fencing and gates, there's only one place to go. Black Fence Post barbed wire hinge joint. Gates in various sizes plus fencing accessories. So when you need rural fencing, this is where you go. Up to Metal Market.
First to ice hockey in the the Newcastle North Stars have won their doubleheader twice against the Brisbane Lightning. It started yesterday, and of course it started this afternoon with two historic wins. Because of that, the North Stars will take on the Melbourne Ice at the Hunter Ice Skating Stadium at Warners Bay next weekend. To Newcastle hockey, and of course, Oxford secured a win over Central. While in the other games, the Eagles demolished Norway Head. And also the Tigers were forced to draw 1-1 with Gosford. And so too did Souths and Uni. Meanwhile, the Newcastle hockey junior girls had a much better one in round 10, which of course started on Friday. The Souths tied again. As the Tigers tied 1-1 against South, so too did the Oxfords and Regals. In round 10 of the B grade, Newcastle Hunter Rugby League and Curry absolutely smashed University 26-20. In the other games, Cardiff gave Glendale a flogging, while Windale defeated Swansea and Shortland defeated Northern Lakes. Round 10 of the B grade of Newcastle and Hunter Rugby League started with the Curry Bulldogs up against the University of Newcastle Seahorses. It was Curry who scored first. Then Curry were on the verge of a good attack, and they were of course biting the dust. And of course, plenty of yeses from the crowd. Then University of Newcastle threatened to strike back. Thankfully, Curry kept on going. It was all thanks to a couple of tries. And also this one as well. Meanwhile, University tried everything they could. But it was all too late. As Curry knew what to do right in the second half. Time ran out for University. As Curry won the game 26-20. In round 10 of the Newcastle and Hunter Rugby League women's competition, Wyong defeated Karua in the Battle of the Roos teams. And of course, Central Newcastle annihilated Western Suburbs. Also, Macquarie defeated Berkeley Vale. It was a Battle of the Roos, riding the women's version of the Newcastle and Hunter Rugby League. Wyong versus Karua. Wyong were the first to score, and it was right up on the Central Coast. Then Karua knew exactly what to do. Karua scored back. Meanwhile, Karora threatened to secure a win after scoring this try. And then threatened to quickly lead at half-time. But of course, Wyong tried everything they could in the first half. But Karora were just way too fast. Finally, Wyong got everything they could right up in the second half. Wyong knowing exactly everything that they could do. Wyong were now on the good verge of a fight back. Because of it, it was just marvellous. But also, Wyong managed to secure a huge victory. Even though Karora threatened to win the game, but it was all too late. As Wyong won the match 24-22. Round 9 of Central Coast Rugby League, and Terrigal has defeated the entrants with a 30-28 win, while Turkley were too strong for Berkeley Vale, 34-4. In other games, Wyong defeated Woy Woy 44-6, and Kincumber were defeated by Erina, after Erina secured a huge 16-4 win. To the Hunter Valley's Group 21 Rugby League competition, and Denman secured a win over Aberdeen 56-12, while Scone defeated Greta Brankston 48-0. Also, Muswellbrook defeated Singleton 26-22. In round 11 of the Group 4 Rugby League, and Dunga winners smashed Werris Creek 42-10. While Gunnedah secured a win over Boggabri. Also, in the other games, North Tamworth secured a win over Narrabri, while Katingal Moonbi beated Moree. Group 19 Rugby League, and Inverell is taking down Warialda 28-18, while Narwin were too strong for Armidale. Meanwhile, it was a game of the Battle of the Tigers, as Tinga took down Orella Walker 48-28. The Group 2 Rugby League, and the Coffs Harbour Comets secured a win over the Nambucca Heads Roosters, while the Wagorga Seahorses secured a win over the Maxwell Sea Eagles. Meanwhile, the Arawa Valley Axemen secured a 2-point win over the Grafton Ghosts, and the South Grafton Devils secured a 36-4 win over the Sawtell Panthers. In round 7 of the Group 3 Rugby League, and Port City has secured a win over Tarlee, while Foster Tuncurry has secured a win over Wingham. In other games, Macleay Valley has beaten Warhope, while the Port Macquarie Sharks have secured a win over the Old Bar Pirates. To round 9 of Northern Rivers Regional Rugby League, and Evans Head secured a win over Ballina, while Northern United beat Kyogle. Also, the other teams also posted big wins. It's a match that's always come above. It was a battle between the Evans Head Bombers and the Ballina Seagulls in the Northern Rivers Regional Rugby League. Evans Head scored first, then Ballina scored back.
And Hugh Fred's over and he'll get the first points of the afternoon for the Ballina Seagulls.
Both teams were in 6-all, right up in the first half.
That with the under-18 squad from 2019. There's 8 of those players here this afternoon. That's now going to be Anthony Coleman. Flicks it back into Jess Perry. Has he got enough go forward? Jess Perry gets over.
Then Ballina scored yet again to make it 12-6. Evans Head was struggling in the first half,
goes one-on-one there with Nick Kelly. And Sam Martin tries to get
as Ballina scored another try.
Cam Copeland just marches that one over the Bombers try line. 3 consecutive tries now for the Ballina Seagulls. Just going to be brought down there. 12 metres away.
But Evans Head managed to produce a comeback.
That's Michael Roberts. Can he get himself a double? He crosses over. Off the back of a magic kick there from Trevor Bolts. It'll be the case this afternoon, but it's Ballina just
As Evans Head managed to secure a comeback. Even though Ballina tried, but not good enough though.
From many a season for the Seagulls. You'll know all too well as McClintock Kid puts that one on the toe. Good read off the kick down to roll. Mansfield in the corner. Roy Bell going back into the halves. Aaron Skills from Dunkar. Puts it on the right foot. Can he get over the... Just short of the line there for the Evans Head Bombers, Aaron Skills.
Evans Head secured a huge comeback in the second half.
The ascendancy has paid off now for the Evans Head Bombers.
And eventually secured a match-winning try. And eventually secured a match-winning try.
We are at now 24 apiece, including his opposite number.
Which of course started later on.
Ballina needs to hold on. Trevor Bolt offs the pass up into his sparring partner Roy Bell.
As Evans Head won the match.
He gets into that corner. Brandon Anderson.
That was of course better than kicking a field goal.
This is now Trevor Bolt. Thinks about it. Brought down there by his opposite number there in Jess Perry. That's the blast.
And of course, Evans Head securing the win 28-24 over Ballina. Round 11 of the AFL Hunter Central Coast women, and of course Wolseley and West Newcastle have all but ended Terrigal Avoca's undefeated winning run, 48-9. While Cardiff have all but continued theirs, beating the entrants Batter Bay 18 points to 8. Meanwhile, Lake Macquarie secured a win over Killarney Vale in a match that was forced to be called off in the final few seconds because of the ground being deemed too wet a bit. And also, Newcastle City defeated Gosford 79-1. In round 8 of AFL Northwest, and of course Inverell secured a win over the New England Nomads, and of course Gunnedah beat Tamworth 108-8. Meanwhile, in the under-14s, Inverell defeated Tamworth 61-1. Meanwhile, in the under-17s, and of course, Celtic were too strong for Tamworth. Just like the men in the AFL North Coast, the women of Coffs Breakers also annihilated Port Macquarie. And of course, Coffs were too good for the Magpies, 56-6. To the AFL North Coast under-17s, and of course it was the boys' turn, and the Coffs Breakers defeated the Port Macquarie Magpies 90 points to 71. Round 9 of the Hunter Rugby Union competition in Merewether has defeated Maitland 29-16, while the Wanderers absolutely demolished the Southern Beaches 85-5. Also, Hamilton defeated Nelson Bay. The Central Coast Rugby Union and Avoca have secured a win, and Avoca Beach have suffered a terrible loss to the Terrigal Trojans. Meanwhile, the Gosford Red Devils were too strong for the Woy Lions, while the Lakes were too good for Warnervale. Meanwhile, round 11 of Central Coast Rugby Union's Swartzy Cup has seen Terrigal leapfrogging two teams to land themselves at the top of the table. Displacing Avoca Beach in a largely even clash, Terrigal may have walked away with the win, but the team they beat remain hot on their tail.
Trojans. Deep in shark-infested waters at Hazlitt Park, the Trojans were put in their place early. A clever grubber setting up fullback Mitch Briggs for the opening try of the game. Avoca missed the conversion, but there was still blood in the water. Looking wide, the visitors mounted a counter-attack, outrunning the Sharks and scoring a try of their own. Adam Dankert kicking the Trojans into the lead. A penalty goal saw the lead grow. The points kept stacking up against Avoca as Terrigal pushed through their defences. The Sharks fought back, managing to undo some of the damage before the half-time break. The hosts continued playing catch-up as the day turned to night, but an 8-point margin soon turned into 15 as the Trojans crossed over again. But the home team still had the crowd on their side and were on their feet when Briggs scored his second for the night. It proved to be the end of the Sharks' points, but not for Terrigal, with Dankert scoring a try of his own for good measure. Sealing the game with a conversion. The 32-15 win, gifting Terrigal top spot on the ladder. Will DeFulvio, NBN News.
Still in rugby, and of course for the second year in a row, St Albert's have lifted the Bushy Shield, defeating rivals the Armidale Blues 31 points to 22 yesterday afternoon. The win also cements the Albies' position on top of the New England rugby ladder.
The Blues were first on the scoreboard thanks to a penalty goal, but they were soon down a man. Prop Ben Harperson saw yellow after the referee didn't appreciate his backchat. Now, with an extra man, the Albies went on the attack, breaking down the Blues' defence, leading to a George Burns try. Moments later, fly half Bent Grant streaked away, scoring under the post to extend the Albies' lead to 14-3. Armidale needed to hit back, and Jack Grant did just that for the Blues. After the break, Will Macon raced away to extend the Albies' lead. And the winger was in again minutes later, crossing over for his double in the corner. The Blues' hope for a win were quickly becoming out of reach, and a disallowed try didn't make things any easier for Armidale. They did cross in the final minute, but it was too little, too late. The final score, 31 points to 22. Grace Nicholson, NBN News.
The Coffs Harbour women's open team was the last local side standing this year's Senior State Cup, and today was always going to be a tough ask. The girls went down 14-2 in the quarterfinals of Central Coast Crown champions.
It was always going to be tough for the Coffs Women's Open team, facing the Central Coast, who after 2 days led the way. The Coast continued their form, racing out to a 3-0 lead before Coffs managed to slip through. But the Central Coast's experience on the field showed. By half-time, they led 6-1. Coffs crossed over their second try after the break. But the Coast proved why they're the side to beat. The final score, 14-2.
We did put a lot of pressure on them, I could tell.
We played well considering we only got one training session in on the Wednesday.
Despite the loss, the local girls were happy with their performance over the last 3 days, particularly against the teams from Sydney.
We made it really far considering what we thought we'd do, and we really put on like a challenge for some of the teams that we didn't think we would do very well against.
Probably the best we've played together, but the competition just gets harder each year.
Alison Paul, NBN News.
To meet North Coast Rugby Union and Coffs Harbour defeated Grafton 56-7, while the Hastings Vikings were too good for the Port Macquarie Pirates by 2 points. It also the Marlins defeated Kempsey 52-10. To round 9 of Far North Coast Rugby Union, and Bangalore secured a win over Lismore, while Lennox Head has defeated Casuarina Beach, and Wollongbar Alstonville has defeated Ballina. And now, before we head off to a commercial break, the Newcastle Knights have a lot of hard-hitting questions, and we ask them what they prefer first, milk or Milo.
I do about 18 spoonfuls of Milo and then do a little bit of milk.
I'm a bit of Milo, then I chuck a bit of milk and a bit more Milo. I'm on Milo first. Milo first. Big pasta sauce scoop.
Milo, about 5 scoops and then milk.
Milk first. Milk. Both actually. I go Milo on the bottom, milk, and then Milo on top.
I'm usually milk first and then Milo. I don't know why, but I think that's weird. Is it?
I've never had Milo before, so I don't know. I am Milo first, about 8 scoops, and then a little bit of milk, chip away at it. Milk first. I'm going to go milk first so it doesn't stick to the bottom.
Bit of milk, whole heap of Milo, and then mix it up a bit and a bit more milk to go through it.
Yeah, I agree with the Knights on that. Milk as well, and of course I have that on my Vitamins. It's only me. Anyway, coming up, the weather details are up next.
For 36 months interest-free terms. 36 months interest-free on computers, printers, scanners, fax machines and much more. 36 months interest-free terms now at Harvey Norman. Minimum purchase $500, 1/3 deposit. Conditions apply. See store for details.
Where can I go for great prices and quality bathroom items with names I know and trust?
This Thursday till Sunday, it's RDT's Vanity Sale. New arrivals, overstocks, deleted lines, everything in the store is reduced. All vanities heavily discounted. Elegant stone top, wall hung, coloured and ceramic top vanities. Budget buster vanities from $199. Plus over 30 new products on display. See the savings on rdt.net.au. Get the quality, the look, the store-wide savings. Renovators Discount Depot, 147 Newcastle Road, Walls End. Store quality, depot prices.
When it comes to rural fencing and gates, there's only one place to go. Black Fence Post Barbed Wire Hinge Joint. Gates in various sizes plus fencing accessories. So when you need rural fencing, this is where you go.
Albion and massive overstock clearance is on now, and Cherry's in store to slash the prices.
All this stock must clear now. Make sure the deals are red hot.
Yes, sir. Let's sell. We're under boss's orders. Albion and massive overstock clearance must end this weekend. This is it, our last chance to clear stock. Electrical computers, bedding, furniture. There's amazing offers and unbelievable savings.
Get to work now.
The boss is counting on us. It's all gotta go. Last chance, Albion and massive overstock clearance and Sunday.
To the weather now, and it was alright for Newcastle as well as for all parts of New South Wales as well. It was mostly clear today and tonight, and it will be alright by tomorrow, and of course it will be a minimum of 7 for maximum to 17 to tomorrow, and it will be alright with 7 to 17 for Newcastle, 5 to 17 for both Toronto and Wallsend. Now to the Hunter, it was of course the same today, and of course it was a bit of a it was mostly clear light winds, but it will be partly cloudy by tomorrow. It will be 7 to 17 for Newcastle, 5 to 17 at Maitland, 4 to 17 at Singleton, 6 to 16 at Gosford, and 2 to 16 at Scone. Now to the Central Coast, it will be just fine for Gosford, which has got 6 to 16, and of course the entrance over there has got 10 to 15. Of course, it was alright today, which is partly cloudy, but it will be there will be a shower or two by tomorrow. Meanwhile, it was also alright for parts of the mid-north coast, and also throughout Coffs Harbour and Port Macquarie, which was alright, but it will be alright by tomorrow. And of course, it's 6 to 20 for Coffs Harbour, 6 to 19 for Port Macquarie, as well as 5 to 18 for Taree, 3 to 20 for Kempsey, 6 to 18 for Foster, 7 to 16 for Bulladilla, 3 to 15 for Dolago, 4 to 19 for Nambucca Heads, 5 to 19 for Wauchope, and 1 to 6 for the Barrington Tops. It was alright for parts of the Northern Tablelands as well as the New England Northwest, which is alright. There was no minimum, as well as a maximum of 17. It'll be mostly sunny tomorrow. It'll be 0 for 17 up in Tamworth, 3 to 19 for Moree, 1 to 18 for Narrabri, 1 to 15 for Barraba, 0 to 17 for both Gunnedah and Corindai, as well as 4 to 17 for Walgett, 1 to 19. There's 4 to 17 for Walgett, 1 to 19 for Warialda, and 2 to 19 at Wee Waa. And finally, for the Northern Rivers, it will be fine for. It was fine today, but it will be sunny by tomorrow. It was 8 to 22. It will be 8 to 22 for Tweed Heads, 4 to 21 for Lismore, 11 to 19 for Byron Bay, 7 to 21 for both Ballina and Evans Head. Grafton will have 4 to 22, while Murwillumbah will have 6 to 23. Also, Yamba will have 7 to 21. Onto the waters, it'll be alright right across Newcastle as well as for the rest of New South Wales, with up to a maximum of 15 to 20 knots expected there. There's a high tide at around about 12 minutes past 7 tomorrow morning, and the low is at around about 12:37 tomorrow afternoon. And of course the sun's getting up at around about 6:57, setting at 4:56. The outlook for Newcastle will be fine. So too will Scone. And also for Gosford, Tamworth, Lismore, and also for Coffs Harbour as well. And just before we say goodbye and good night, and before we go, and of course finally tonight, the New South Wales Blues have secured a huge victory in the state of origin, which is great news for all of us. It means that the decider will be played up at Suncorp Stadium in Queensland, which starts in a few weeks. That's about it for now, and from all of us here, good night.